I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Oh, I'm Brad Heineck, physical
And
therapist.
together we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course.
Brad, there's been kind of a little bit of a craze that's been happening in the running world. And I think it's been driven by two books. One is the, let me read the title here, Born to Run, A Hidden Tribe, Super Athletes, and the Greatest Race the World Has Ever Seen. And you've read the book, and I've read the book.
I just finished reading it last night, actually.
It's about the a tribe of Indians in Mexico. They're the Terra Himera Indians.
Yeah, it's a tough. I don't even really know how it's really pronounced. I wish I did.
And they basically spend the great part of their day running.
Long distance.
Long distances. Well, they'll go 100 miles, right?
Yeah, marathons. They wouldn't be a good marathon runner because it's too short for them.
Yeah.
They're really endurance runners.
And over really tough terrain.
Right. They're not running on the flat on the road. They're going up and down mountains.
So the guy that wrote this book actually was having trouble with his own running form.
Sure.
Getting injuries, goes down there, kind of learns this method, and it helps him. Right. He no longer is getting injured, he can run longer distances.
Right.
So this kind of started this craze. In fact, I just saw on Shark Tank, this guy had invented a shoe, because they don't believe in the current type of shoe. They believe in just a flat piece of rubber or a flat piece of leather, which they use down in Mexico.
Something that protect your skin of
just to
your
protect
foot.
your skin, basically.
Right.
But they think the foot is designed to take stresses,
Right.
and that the new footwear has actually taken away from that. So
And, you know, the way they explain it in there, and they had some studies to back it up, a lot of the part about keeping the foot inherently strong with the
Right.
intrinsic muscles makes a lot of sense.
it makes sense to me, and I have kind of converted to this method
You're
of running.
barefoot running?
Not barefoot running, but I have gotten away from heel running.
The
basically.
heel toe method?
Right.
Right.
And one of the other advocates, one of the other books that seems to promote that is the POSE method, P-O-S-E method. It's by Nicholas Romanov. He's I believe Russian, a PhD, and he developed this method of running. I don't know what year this was written, but it's actually kind of takes you through how to develop the technique to run more on a forefoot
Right.
method.
So you should get the shoe in yet.
Yeah, let's get the shoe over here.
It's so much easier to show than just to talk about it with our hands and whatnot. Nice throw, Nance. All right. So typically, and I used to run like this all the time.
Yeah,
I've
so
run
did
for
I.
probably 15 years.
We both did.
When I would go forward my foot, my heel would strike and I'd roll through and push off.
Yeah, and you were on the foot maximally. I mean, you were on the foot a long time. You know what I
Right.
mean? You're the whole you hit the heel. You're still on it. You're still on it. You're still on it.
Right.
And the other thing is, with this type of running, generally your foot is way in front of you.
Right.
Okay.
Front of the center of
You
gravity.
have your way out here. People always told you, people tell me, you're tall, you must be a fast runner because you can take really long strides.
Right.
Well, what we found out is really elite runners don't take long strides. It's all about turnover. It's about taking quick strides and
Number of repetitions per minute or whatever.
Exactly, but they are not. The foot is really not getting in front of them. It's staying underneath them.
Sure.
And going back behind
Right.
them more.
So if you're not going to go heel toe, then you land on
More of the
front
foot,
of the
front of the foot, or maybe the heel and foot simultaneously. The idea here, though, is that this big solid heel here really is not needed on the shoe.
right.
And I found, for one thing, that I was able to run with shoes longer once I started running more on my forefoot.
Sure.
Now, my criticism of this book is that
Which book?
this pose method.
Sure.
I like the other book. I would highly recommend the book about the Tamara Hara.
Born to Run.
Born to Run. That was a great book, don't you think?
Yeah,
That was a
I
nice story. But this one, it's a very long book, and for the price, I mean, it's really not teaching you that many things. There's a lot of exercises at the end of that. A lot of them are very bizarre. If you
Yeah, I was just looking. Yeah, when the camera came, I was like, some of them look pretty good, but there's some that I would never have anybody do because it stretches their back in such a aggressive manner. You're going to get back injuries from that, or if you have.
So, I mean, the idea behind the pose method is, one, it's supposed to help you run with less injuries, which I think it does.
Sure.
Just as my personal opinion. Two, it's supposed to help you run faster too, which it did not for me, but yet I did not do all the exercises in here. So maybe,
Right.
I think if I did, I probably would be faster, but I'd be faster if I did any exercises for helping strengthen the legs.
Sure.
So,
little question mark on those exercises.
So where did he get the name pose? The idea is that you're putting your back in a certain pose. He thought with ballet, dance, and karate, the way you learn that is you start by learning poses, right?
Sure.
You taught karate for years,
right?
Right,
you bet, yeah.
So, but the other thing, I thought he told a good story about how if you want to see the difference between good runners and bad runners, you go to a 5K race or a race, any road race, and you watch, and as the beginning runners come by, the fast runners listen. And you'll just hear very light footsteps, soft footsteps,
Sure.
because they're hitting more on their forefoot, most of them. Then as you go further into the mid-pack and less in the backpack, now you're hearing stomping. Boom, boom,
sometimes
boom.
even
Yeah, yeah, and their forms all over the place. And that to me is what convinced me is that, yeah, you're right. I mean, those guys they're turning they're getting a
higher
cycle, higher cadence, and they're not touching as fast, and they're getting the foot off the ground quicker.
Right.
So, for me, in learning this, I guess there's only a couple things I kept in mind when I was running. One is you want to lean forward a little more. You're going to take shorter strides. If you take long strides, you're going to hit the foot, and it's going to send that shock up through you. But I'm thinking about hitting on my forefoot. I'm keeping good posture, but I'm leaning forward a little more. Does that make sense, Brad?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing is, you're going to want to hit on the forefoot, and when your foot hits, you want to have the knee slightly bent. You don't want to have it straight like this.
Right.
So there's a slight bend, and that gives your body some elasticity,
Right,
the muscles,
spring.
yeah. They talked about where this became evident is, I don't know if you remember Alberto Salazar. He was a great long distance runner. And he was running this marathon in New York, and he was crossing one of the bridges, and all they could see was his head. They couldn't see the rest of his body, and his head was perfectly still. It didn't go up and down.
Sure.
And that means that when his body's hitting, he is bent leg like this. Otherwise, he'd be going up and down like this.
So his energy's going forward.
His energy's going forward, yeah.
Right.
So you want to lean forward a little bit. You want to get onto your forefoot. You want to have that leg slightly bent, and then you want to really think about getting your feet off the ground as quickly as possible.
Right. You know, I have not read this book yet, but I have changed my running style to a forefoot compared to the heel toe. But one of the biggest influences because I was having back problems, and I wanted to decrease the impact on my back, and it was very clear when I ran like that. I could feel the difference.
It made a difference to me too. I would every so often get just minor injuries, you know, and I'd have to stop running for a while, and since then I honestly have not. So this is just two examples. I know I saw a study which they thought there wasn't any difference between the two.
Right.
So there's always going to be, I think, studies that you can find on both sides.
Right, right.
Again, I don't know, I can highly recommend the other book. I'm a little bit iffy on this one. It's very long. There's a lot of goofy stuff in it. They have a video too. I mean, we got the whole thing here.
Yeah.
And again, he spends a lot of time just showing people running in slow motion. And I mean, you know, I know there's some videos on the internet too that you can see some of the pose method. But so I think it's a good idea. I don't know if you want to spend the money on the book.
Sure. All right. So. Yeah, I think another thing we got to get into in another video. We'll do some more research on some barefoot running because after reading Born to Run, there's some sense to it, and you know, I think even if you barefoot run maybe in your yard, as a training to strengthen those muscles in your feet.
You just can't jump into it because you've got to strengthen those muscles.
I'm not saying to barefoot run, but I mean as a part of your running training, just maybe run a few hundred yards barefoot.
And that's what my son is doing.
Then when you race or when you train the rest of the time, you put your shoes on. But it's a component of your training.
That's what a lot of cross-country teams are doing now.
Sure.
Throwing it in there, so. All right, good luck.